Go and get going. Kind of a lot to go through today, so I'll probably going kind of quick, but hopefully we can get through everything in the 30 minutes that we have. Um, yep, thank you everyone for joining. This is episode 9 of Ticket Training Tuesdays, where today we'll be going through the highly anticipated release of the service catalog. Um, so there's not much on the agenda, as I said. I have kind of a lot to go through, so I'm going to get into the demo as fast as I can. Um, but we do have a couple items to cover first. And again, I just want to say thank you for everyone that attends these sessions. It's really great to have you. Also, if you're new, if this is your first time Ticket Training Tuesdays, welcome. This is a weekly session. We, the customer success team, delivers for our ticket customers, where we go over different ticket features and capabilities and walk through a demonstration and kind of highlight what we can do within Ticket. And oh, sorry about that. I'm just trying to keep an eye on the lobby as well. I see James, if maybe he can help me out there. Appreciate it. But hello, yep, my name is Ben Anderson. I'm a part of the customer success team. I've been a consultant with Cyrusen for just over 2 years. And I have to say, by far, the most favorite part of this job has always been working with you, the customers, and trying to see how best we can use Ticket and like automations to just bring as much value to your organization and to your ITSM processes. Okay, so just a little housekeeping here. A lot of useful links on this slide, just some resources on how you can get in contact with us if you need anything, or some other resources we have out on the web. We have the Ticket Training Tuesday KB article. You can go there if you want to review any past sessions. Maybe you didn't get a chance to make those, or you want to go back and review or see any upcoming sessions that we have coming up. You can visit that page. We also have our help portal. If you need to send a ticket to us, you go to help.cyrusen.com. Also, we have links to the community and the knowledge base site. More resources there, as well as our help@cyrusen.com email address. Give me just a moment. I will put some links in the chat for you. I'm going to include also some links to our socials. If you want to follow us there, that'd be great. As well as we have a service catalog article that came out on cyrusen.com with this release. So that might be a nice article to supplement this demonstration today. Without further ado,
Susie's out.
Yeah, let's get into it. So not much in the way of slides for service catalog. Like I said, there's a lot to unpack here. This is our first session on it. It was just released last week. So it's probably best to just jump in and kind of see what it's all about. So we're all excited. Hopefully you are as well. I'm going to take the approach that maybe you haven't started configuring service catalog yet. Maybe you have, so things might look a little different. But we'll try to cover it all and see how far we get. Like I say, not a lot of time, so I'm probably going to be moving kind of quick. But if you do have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand, come off of mute, or type in the chat, and we'll try to get your question answered. So I'm going to switch over my lab. Now, give me just a moment. You can see my screen. I know sometimes this isn't working, but okay, great. See my screen. All right, so yep, this is my ticket environment. Trying to decide where best to start here, but I think you're already going to notice some differences. Most likely, you see a new entry here for service offerings. But before we dive into the actual service catalog, I'm going to highlight inside the ticket configuration, there's now a service catalog section. Now, by default, when this was rolled out, this toggle for enabling service catalog on request portal is enabled. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the service catalog is going to display yet on your end user portal, because you still need to take the additional step of promoting your previous knowledge items to the service catalog before the service catalog is actually has anything in it. So nothing should really change unless you've started configuring service catalog. It should still be working very much the same as it used to. But there's a few UI changes here in the ticket settings portal. So like I said, this is on by default. You can toggle it off globally if you didn't want the service catalog, whatever reason, but it's on here. Additionally, we have the option to change the behavior of the add ticket button within the end user portal. We'll show you that in a moment, but we can set a few different options here. We can use ticket deflection similar to the way Ticket Virtual Agent currently works, or if we don't want deflection, we can give them the option to simply create a ticket, or last, we could just choose to hide that button entirely. So I'm going to keep the ticket deflection turned on. Service catalog is enabled, so we should be good there, and you shouldn't have to change this in order to start working with the service catalog, but make sure it's enabled if it's not. So now I will actually hop over to the end user portal so we can see what this looks like. Okay, and as I said, if you haven't configured service catalog yet, you are not going to see what I have here for the service catalog. You're still going to see whatever columns you have configured previously, tickets, approvals, and these are these are the tickets that are associated with your with the user logging in, so they can kind of track progress of their tickets or any approvals. But once we do start to configure service catalog, you'll see that you'll get another column here, and all of these columns are of course configurable here in the column configuration, which ones we want to see. So here I have just a very basic, just a few items that I've configured in the service catalog just to demonstrate what it could look like. At first glance, you see three main areas, and these are our service offerings. So think of these as the high-level classification of all your service requests, and it's typical to keep these separated by department, although that's not required. You can organize these however it makes sense for you and your organization. But I've chosen three departments: IT, HR, and facilities. Those are my service offerings, and we'll get into how to create those in a moment. But I wanted to kind of showcase what the service catalog looked like before we get into the configuration. So you probably saw when this first loaded up, this was expanded by default, the IT service offering, and these were collapsed. And that's a setting that we can control. Again, I'll show you that in a moment. Just know we can control the behavior of how.
Over there.
Sorry, was that a question?
In the morning.
Oh, no, sorry. Anyway, so yes, we can collapse and expand the service offerings to show the full catalog under that service offering. And coming back to the IT one here at the top, I have a few that's set up. I have two service offerings: request new computer, request an Ethernet port, just two examples. But you'll notice we also have knowledge here as well. So it can really take everything you've already configured for Ticket Virtual Agent, and we can just promote that into the service catalog if we choose. So this doesn't impact Ticket Virtual Agent at all. If you don't use it in the service catalog, that will keep working the same as it always has. We just have the option to additionally add it to the service catalog if we want. So in this case, I have a few examples, two request offerings and knowledge base. So the one thing that's different here is now we get the ability to give a title and a description to the request offerings that we choose to promote, just to give a nice visual indication of what this is and what it's for in the context of the service catalog. And you can see we can also add things like images. We could have links and text formatting, pictures, all the things you would expect from like the knowledge article configuration. We can add that within the request offerings as well. So that's really about it. If we were to click on these, probably what you would expect to see would be the form associated with that request offering. So this is just any template that has a custom form configured for the template can be used within the service catalog, just like with Tikit Virtual Agent. So if we click on that service request, we get immediately brought to the form that's configured for the template. And of course, if we fill out the form, that what you would expect to happen, it submits a ticket, and all that's the same. But also the same is if you were to go and get the link for the template in the ticket configuration and give that to a user, it would also bring them directly to the form. So it's kind of the same concept here, except now the user can go and pick the service request and the form they want to fill out themselves via the service catalog. And similarly, if we were to click on a knowledge article, we're just going to get that knowledge article. There's no form, of course, attached to knowledge, but it's going to bring us straight into that resource. And here, how to fix a computer problem. That's what you do, and that'll fix it right up for you. So you can imagine this is just a few, but you can build this out. You can have many service offerings and many request offerings and knowledge entries all within the service catalog to really fully represent all the services that you offer to your customers. Okay, so that's a quick look at what the service catalog kind of looks like and how it works from the end user perspective. Any questions here before we move over to configuration? Nope. Okay, well then let's take a look at what we're going to need to have ready in order to start adding things to the service catalog. I'm going to go back back into ticket settings. We've already shown how to enable the service catalog globally, but there's still a few things we need to do. And as I said before, you probably noticed the service offerings option in the middle column is new. That's something that wasn't there before. And as you probably guessed, this is where we can define those high-level service offerings for our service catalog. And important to know that they will display in the catalog in the same order they're displayed here. So we can see IT, HR, and facilities is displayed, IT, HR, and facilities there. And to rearrange those, it's as easy as just dragging and dropping. So now HR should be at the top. That saves immediately, refresh, and now we see HR is above IT. Okay, we'll put that back. And let's take a look at one of these when we open up. There's not a lot to do here. These are fairly easy to set up. If I open my IT offering, you can see we can give it a name, we can give it a description, and then here we have that option to set whether the offering is expanded or collapsed by default. So you saw whenever I loaded, every time I load this page, IT is expanded, HR and facility is collapsed. And that's the setting that will control that behavior. You also have the ability to upload a custom icon if you want, just to pretty it up a little bit. You do have a default icon if not. So if you were to come in here with a new offering, you'll just have a generic icon to work with. And it tells you the supported file types as well as how big the image is going to be rendered. And we could demonstrate how to create a new one, but it's basically the same. We just give it a name description, set the property and the icon, whether it's expanded or not. And that's really all there is to that. But we have to have those in place before we can start promoting items into the service catalog. Okay, so I want to want to touch on something else that isn't directly related to the service catalog. Since we're here right now, along with the release, we've incorporated a few additional features and quality of life improvements to Tikit, and you can see one of those here on this page, and that's the Show Archive button. This will be present on any view within the Tikit settings that has items with the ability to be archived. So all your list values, your groups, all those things that can be archived. Before they were still in the list, you could see that they were archived, but they were taking up some real estate on the page. And as you get more and more and more of those, it becomes kind of cluttered. And this is just a way to kind of get those out of the way, out of the UI if you don't want to see them. And it's just a toggle switch. It should be off by default, but if I toggle it on, you would see, oh, here's an old service request that is archived, but by hitting the toggle, it disappears from the view, but it's still there if you need it. Okay. So if we're going to start setting up the service catalog, I guess first we should mention something else that's changed in this view that you probably noticed. In the leftmost column, knowledge is not here anymore. It's been replaced with service catalog. So just know it serves the same purpose. We essentially just renamed it and then added some things to it. So if we go into service catalog, if you go to the first tab, all category items, this is essentially what we saw with knowledge before. It has all of our configured TVA, Tikit Virtual Agent templates and knowledge articles, and none of that's changed. That'll all still be here. And it will keep working the way it always has with Tikit Virtual Agent. You'll probably also notice a couple new columns here in the middle. We have one for request offering and service offering. So that will tell us if any of these have been added to the service catalog or not. And everything here will be able to be added. So likely you have a lot of knowledge and custom forms and templates that could be added to the service catalog from here. But if you haven't configured this yet, there probably will be nothing in these two columns. However, you'll need to add them to service catalog in order for that to show here. But you also see I have a couple here that don't have an entry there for the request offering or service offering. That means they're just configured for Tikit Virtual Agent. They're not in the service catalog yet. We've done a couple other things similar to all catalog items. We could just go to the request offering tab, and this will just show everything that's been added to the service catalog. So you most likely will not have anything here if you've not configured the service catalog yet. This will be blank because nothing's been added. Once you do, this will filter out just those items that have been added to the service catalog. Additionally, we've added two more tabs to break out knowledge from a template, so you can clearly see which ones are knowledge articles versus templates. And again, it shows you if they're associated with a request offering or a service offering. Now, maybe it's good to open one of these up and see how it's configured, and then we'll try configuring one ourselves. So if I pick one of my request offerings, it's already been configured. I've already done this so that it shows up in the service catalog. Maybe need a new computer. This is going to look very similar. And in fact, it would be the same process as if you were setting this up for Tikit Virtual Agent. But this is more or less the same. We can still define all of our phrases. We can change the status. We can set it to agent only. And, the template that we're going to be using that has a form associated with it. But additionally, we have another toggle for enable request offering. Now this is on because I've turned it on and I've configured it. But if you come here initially, that will be toggled off. And you'll also notice there's another tab here on edit catalog item called request offering. It will be disabled by default until you choose to enable the request offering. Once we turn that on, we now have the ability to go into the request offering tab to finish configuring this for the service catalog. And so here, this is the request new computer. So just for context, switch back over to the end user portal. I'm dealing with this request new computer request offering here. This is the one I've already configured. Nothing special, but you see the same editor you've seen before with knowledge. Now you can build out that request offering description and title as it's going to appear in the service catalog. Now, since we already went and defined our service offerings, those high-level classifications, we have something to choose here. In this case, it's in IT. That's where it's going to show up under in the service catalog. And we also have an order field. So back to the portal, we can see we have only 2 here, but imagine there could be many, many more. And maybe you want to control the order. By default, it's all 0, so they should just fall in line. But if you want to change their ordering as they appear in underneath the service offering, we can do that here. So it's not required to put anything. It actually won't even let you put 0. It defaults to 0, but you could put something more if you wanted. If you always wanted to force something to the bottom, you could do a high number like that, and then others could be somewhere in between. Okay, there's that. Maybe we'll also look at the configured knowledge entry. Man, time's coming up quick, isn't it? Same sort of thing. We can enable it as a request offering, but since this is a knowledge article, we'll just say use template as off so that we can define that knowledge article. Otherwise, it's the same, and we'll pick the service offering, and we can put a title and description. Okay, so maybe we'll quickly set one up. Just as an example, one that we probably already have that's ready to go that has not been promoted to the service catalog. So I actually have one. This is a template for my default ticket form, that general form that would be presented to the user if it's just an incident or it doesn't, we don't have any knowledge or template or forms that satisfy what the user wants. We can give them that default template. Maybe redundant to do it this way, but this as an example, we could add that to the service catalog. And as you can see, there's no entry under service offering or order, but we could simply open it up and we can choose to enable request offering. Now we can go into the request offering tab and we can define this. So maybe general incident, something simple, and we could choose the service offering. In this case, I'm going to say IT. I'll leave the order as nothing for now. Save it. And now if we refresh the page, we should see it show up here. Now, as you can see, it pushed it to the very front because all of these, I think, essentially have 0 ordering. I could alleviate that by just changing the ordering back in the request offering. I could say 5 because I don't even have 5 in there yet, so that should push it to the end. And I can refresh again, and there we have general incident at the end of our request offerings under the IT service offering. And if I click that, I get my form. Okay, done that. So I was gonna do a setup one from scratch, but I think you get the idea, and we are getting kind of close on time. So if that's something you want to see later, it's really quick and easy. You can just go through this whole process to create one from scratch. We can add our phrases just like you do with Tikit Virtual Agent. Once you build that out, you would enable request offering and add it to the service catalog. Sorry, any questions yet? I think we're gonna make it. No. Okay. There's one more thing new with Service Catalog that you might have noticed by now, and that's a new security role. But there's been 2 changes. So essentially, before we had a knowledge manager security role, and that's just been renamed as Service Catalog admins, because previously a knowledge manager had full reign over the knowledge base. They could add, remove, edit as they please. So that's kind of like an admin type of role when it comes to knowledge, but now it's going to encompass all of the service catalog. So everyone that was currently mapped in this role before will still be there under the service catalog admin's role. But now we've added an additional role, and this is for service catalog readers. So this is a read-only role that allows an agent to view the service catalog. As you can imagine, that's probably pretty helpful for your agents to be able to see how it's configured, what all's in there, and could probably make their jobs a lot easier by being able to see that. So essentially, they would be able to go into the service catalog and see this, how it's all configured. And if they still needed to grab a direct link to a template, they could still do that as well. Okay, that covers off roles. And we have a few bonuses with just a few minutes left. Just like the show archive toggle, there's been a few other additions for this release that I wanted to at least talk about for a minute, just so you're aware. One of those is, we've already shown the show archive button, so you can now hide the archived items. We now also have the ability to set the amount of pages, results per page in our tickets, my work, and my group work view. So I don't have a lot here to demonstrate that, but you can see here we have the ability now to choose. Do we want 25, 50, or 100 results per page? And that applies to tickets, my work, my group work. And then lastly is a user preference addition. So if I were to go into my preferences, so everyone can get to their preferences, they'll now have the ability for their views to set whether they want horizontal scrolling or not. So this is kind of a personal preference. I like it. I have mine enabled. And that just allows you to do a horizontal scroll on that grid data within the tickets, my work, and my group work views. And you can see here, I have horizontal scroll enabled, so I can go all the way to the end there. And I think that about covers it all. I hope I didn't miss anything, and I hope that made sense as I flew through the demo. But yeah, I think Service Catalog is great. I hope you get a chance to start incorporating it and see what it can do for you. Yeah, we're all really excited about it. I hope you are too. So any last minute questions before we end the session? Nope. Very good. Well, then say thank you once again for joining us. Hopefully that helped a little bit at least. And I guess hopefully we'll see you again next week. So thanks everyone. Take care.